When we think of scary films, our thoughts might lead to the many in the horror genre. Sometimes I think about this one film. It's a film which actually got banned in China due to its themes. It's a film which not only traumatized a generation of children, but also adults. The funny thing, guys, is this film actually looks like your traditional cutesy Disney animation. So why am I making this video? How did I come across this film? Oh man, memories. I was 8 at the time, and we did this thing once at our primary school called astronomy night. All the students in my year stayed overnight at the school to study the stars. And I guess just doing other kiddie shenanigans, you know, bottle rockets or whatever, I don't know. All of the girls in the year got to stay in a nice warm classroom. It was comfy, and on the projector, the teacher selected a film for them to watch. And this film was Babe. Ah, Babe. I mean, what an adorable film. Just a little film about a little pig. You can't go wrong with that. Lovely. The boys, on the other hand, we were sent to the dungeons. All the boys had to sleep in the dreaded assembly hall. There were bits of food on the ground from where it wasn't cleaned properly. Like, it was genuinely horrible. But all was saved, because in the depths of the hellhole cupboard in which they kept these films stashed, they picked out something for the boys which would keep us occupied for the night. Out of sheer fucking terror. This film was called Watership Down. It was released in 1978, and many of the boys that night, including myself, learned a lot more about rabbit anatomy than we were expecting. Why the teachers chose this film for the boys, I do not know. Was it out of sheer ignorance, or maybe just to watch us writhe in terror? I'm leaning towards the latter. Feel free to subscribe, by the way, it means a lot. The movie starts and you think, oh, this is a nice animated film. It kind of gives me Bambi vibes. There's nothing bad going on here, right? Nothing bad at all. So naturally, you get to the middle of the film, and the middle, it never really leaves you. Not really. And then the end calms down again. It's a lot like going on a roller coaster. With more blood and death and ripped ligaments and... The film is set in the lovely English countryside, in the beautiful county known as Hampshire. And it follows two large groups of rabbits. It's quite interesting because the rabbits were written in such a way in which they have their own mythologies and proverbs. Like, these rabbits have their own lore going on, okay? This is pretty deep cut stuff. I'm telling you, the world building of this little rabbit kingdom is top tier. Their god is called Frith, and the rabbits see Frith as the sun who created all life. Anyways, one of the titular rabbit characters, Fiver, has a vision. This is when the film teases you that things are getting a bit dark. It's not a vision you'll get in a cute Disney film where there's birds and fairies and whatnot. No, this is a vision when the rabbit steps onto the field, looks out into the horizon, and everything turns red with blood. Death and damnation is here to wreak havoc over these tiny, cute little furry friends. Although a lot of them are not cute in the slightest, we'll get into that bit. In other words, this premonition is actually just a planning site for residential development. Of course, the rabbits can't read human English, so Fiver believes they are all going to die. To be fair, housing estates do pose a massive threat to wildlife. That's not a joke, it's just a genuine problem. I don't know why I'm laughing. Fiver rushes back to his family as fast as his little legs can take him. He announces his vision to his family warren of rabbits, and a lot of them do listen, including his older brother, Hazel, who is actually the protagonist of the story. So the family of rabbits embark on a perilous quest to find a new home after their warren is threatened by destruction. Their journey isn't just a physical migration, but rather a metaphorical odyssey. It represents a lot of what we see in our own desires, whether that be safety and community and, I guess to an extent, purpose. At its core, the story is about perseverance through adversity. It's like if the cast of Apocalypse Now was a bunch of cute bunnies. That's a way of seeing it. So this film was adapted from the novel of the same name by author Richard Adams. Richard served in the British Army during World War II. And as we've seen in the past, many of the greatest and arguably most horrific stories can derive from the respective author having experienced something in their life, whether the experience was positive or traumatic. And World War II, you kind of know where this is going, okay? Some people write about the Shire when they're in the war, some people write about this. But the thing is, it's the degree of adversity which has a lot of people very freaked out when they watch this show, especially children, especially myself when I was 8. I'm talking their necks get ripped out, their arms get ripped off. It's just a bit mad. The rabbits get mutilated, and it's kind of annoying because this is an animation and it does the gore in a really annoyingly good amount of detail. Like, it's really visceral. This film is no longer a cute film about rabbits trying to, move to a different place. No, this film is now a war movie. You're now watching All Quiet on the Western Front. And all of this conflict is led by arguably one of the most evil characters ever put into literature, and his name is General Woundwort. General Woundwort rules with an iron fist. He's an authoritarian leader, whilst Hazel represents the egalitarian, empathetic standpoint. So effectively, he is Rabbit Hitler. And his regime results in some of the most horrific imagery I have ever seen in an animation. After discovering the existence of the Watership down Warren, which is a place of sanctuary to the rabbits, if you will, the general views it as a threat to his authority, and Woundwort launches an assault to bring the inhabitants under his control. So this is one fucked up rabbit. There's this one scene which is like etched into my memory, and that's when all of the rabbits are underground and they're having a fight with Woundwort's army who's like fighting. So they're all under this burrow, right? All of these rabbits are getting ripped apart. It's messed up. And then to pour salt on the wound, the burrow collapses and a lot of the rabbits get suffocated. Yeah, the image of that, man, I watch it now and I don't care at all. But back then, that hit me hard. That hit me really hard. But don't worry guys, because this is a kids film after all. There's nothing to worry about. It's great for the infants. General Woundwort serves as a cautionary tale about the consequences of unchecked power. In retrospect, as horrific as the story is, it's also a good one. There's a lot of complex themes going on. Some people might compare it to the works of Animal Farm, George Orwell, in which the writer anthropomorphized a species to relate it with, I guess, human conflict. Obviously, this is just one example of where it's kind of taken to the extreme a little bit. I guess the shocking aspect is because it's an animation, it hits you harder because you're just not expecting it to go this route, and when it does, it's like, oh, okay, I've been deceived. It definitely adds to it. I'd say it's really unconventional in its methods. Would it be released today? Would any film like that be released today? Almost certainly no. It's definitely not. Anyway, the film wraps up with Bigwig. My guy, Bigwig, let's go! He is an ally rabbit of Hazel's Warren, and he faces off with General Woundwort. Woundwort succumbs to his hubris and is defeated by my guy, Bigwig. Woundwort is actually allowed to live because it's Hazel's philosophy to let people live and I guess give them a second chance. They don't want to actually kill anyone, which is a bit mad. I think Woundwort kind of deserved to go. I mean, he committed multiple war crimes, he committed mass genocide, and probably broke the Geneva Convention, or at least the Rabbit Geneva Convention. He might be a rabbit, but the game is the game, and he has to be held accountable for his crimes. Oh wait, he does. As the rabbits journey closer to their promised land, the theme of home becomes increasingly poignant. Home isn't merely a physical space, but a sanctuary of belonging and acceptance. For the rabbits of Watership Down, home represents the culmination of their trials, a place where they can finally rest and rebuild. Once the rabbits find a new home, the story kinda comes together as a timeless allegory of the human condition, how trust and resilience is needed to find a better outcome. In conclusion, this film has some genuinely messed up scenes. So many, in fact, I'm not going to show a lot of them on this channel because look, if you want to see that, you go watch it yourself, because my god. There is a lot of underlying substance, and going back to this film, it was like a trip of kind of discomfort, but also acceptance in a way. Thank you so much for watching, subscribe if you are new, and take care. He might be he might be a rabbit, but he is accountable for his crimes. He might be a rabbit, but the game is the game, and he must be held accountable for his crimes.